Channel 29 presents Group AAA Peninsula District Championship Girls Basketball Game.
You're going to do the
Phoebus Phantoms versus the Menchville Monarchs.
Just let me take both mics out there and do that too.
I'm Tim Cole along with Bob Hintz and A.G. Womble, and we are here at Hampton University's Holland Fieldhouse for tonight's championship game between the Menchville Monarchs and the Phoebus Phantoms. And Bob, it looks like we're going to have a real good game on our hands tonight.
Well, we sure are, Tim. I got to talk with both coaches before the game started. Becky King, who is the head coach at Menchville, and Mike Talon, of course, is the head man over there at Phoebus. These teams met 3 times this year, Tim. Once at the Christmas tournament up at Fort Eustis, and Phoebus won that game, and then they lost twice to the Menchville girls during the regular season. And I talked to Mike Talon at length, and of course he's not coming up with any excuses, but when your team shoots 17% in a half, you're not going to win many ball games. And in the second game they lost, he said they missed 17 foul shots the first half, and so things like that will really hurt. And he says both of them are both very competitive teams. Menchville likes to run up and down. They are very fast. They don't like to get in a set offense. But the Menchville girls, Tim, every one of them are coming back from last year. Every one of them played, so they got years experience, where the Phoebus team, only one member, and that's Nikki Reed, is the only one that has any experience, and here they're only one game apart. And that says a whole lot for the coaching ability of Mike Talon and his staff. And to help Mike Talon, of course, he's got LaVonna Morrow and Aubrey Perry, who does it free. He doesn't get paid to help them. So this is going to be a great game. Anytime you get to the championship round, you got 2 good teams, and this is the number 1, number 2 team in the girls' district region. Oh, I hear they're going to dust the floor one more time. I thought he was getting ready to announce the players, and that's what he'll do, Tim. We'll pick it up. AG is over there with his mic, so we will pick up the introduction of the players. And while I got a chance, let me go ahead and tell you who are the referees tonight. The referee is Ray Keegan, and the umpire is Ed Freeman. Now, the way to tell the difference here is Ed Freeman has the mustache and goes to your barber. And we give Ray Keegan a little bit of hard time the other night. Well, okay, me.
I'm sorry, I have to ask if our director has my feet on, because I cannot hear myself on my headset. Hopefully I'm coming across. I don't know whether I'm being heard or not.
But anyway,
I can hear you fine, but I can't hear me.
Well, then I'll keep talking.
Keep talking, Bob. I'll find you.
They'll catch you in a minute. You see the officials and the one with the mustache.
On the left.
Yeah, and the gentleman to his back who, when he passed our broadcast booth the other night, Nikki Reed just got tripped and he called her for traveling. And I said, looked like a foul to me, and he tried to justify that to A.G. Womble tonight before the game starts. But it was, we didn't think a very well officiated game the other night when Phoebus played Ferguson. And we sure hope it's going to be a better one tonight, Tim.
I understand that we have the possibility of having Pat Patrick help us out with the first half of the ball game here tonight. He's going to be officiating the boys game, which will follow this game. Of course, you'll be able to see both of these games here on Channel 29, but he will be refereeing the game between the Hampton Crabbers boys team and the Warwick Raiders, which we're both looking forward to seeing as well.
Yeah, that'll be a good game. If we do get him and he comes over here, Tim, he'll be here just for the first half. Of course, he's got to go get ready to get himself psyched up to do a good game. But Pat does a good job, an excellent official, and we're very fortunate to have that caliber of man that can come in and actually to donate their time. They'll make a lot of money doing this, and they catch a lot of harassment, especially from me. So looks like they're getting ready to come out on the floor now for the introduction of the teams, Tim.
All right, we're going to have that lineup announced for you in just a moment.
Is it hot now?
And,
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we'd like to welcome you to Hampton University's Holland Hall and the championships for the Peninsula District Tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to ask that you all rise and stand, please, while the Bethel Junior Army ROTC Color Guard presents our colors here tonight. Commander of the Color Guard for the Bethel Junior Army ROTC is First Sergeant Tony Davis. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing now for the playing of our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go any further, we'd like to congratulate both teams here this evening, the Menchville Monarchs and the Phoebus Phantoms. Both of these teams will be representing the Peninsula District and Eastern Region competition. This time, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to give you the starting lineups for our two teams. First of all, at forward, a 5' 8" junior for the Lady Phantoms, number 15, Tammy Boggs. At forward, a 5' 6" junior for the Lady Monarchs, number 10, Nona Bako. At forward, a 5' 8" sophomore for the Lady Phantoms, number 24, Juanita Cook. At forward, a 5' 5" junior for the Lady Monarchs, number 20, Ricky Watson. At center, a 6' 2" sophomore for the Lady Phantoms, number 35, Monica Hart. At center, a 5' 7" senior for the Lady Monarchs, number 50, Delana De Urso. At guard, a 5' 3" junior for the Lady Phantoms, number 10, Nikki Reed. At guard, a 5' 4" sophomore for the Lady Monarchs, number 40, Karen Barefoot. And at guard, a 5' 4" senior for the Lady Phantoms, number 12, Yolanda Keeler. And at guard, a 5' 8" junior for the Lady Monarchs, number 32, Natalie Thomas. Head coach for the Phoebus Phantoms in his 10th season is Mike Talon. He is assisted by Levon Merrill. Head coach for the Lady Monarchs is Becky King, and she is assisted this evening by Jerry Solomon and Carl Harrison.
Well, there's a good picture of Mike Talon.
Officials this evening, the referee Ray Keegan and the umpire Mr. Ed Freeman.
Okay, we appreciate all of those announcements from our PA announcer here at Holland Fieldhouse, and we're just about set to go. The officials for tonight's game, as you mentioned, Ed Freeman, and who was the other?
And Ray Keegan, and we can't forget Ray. He's the one without the mustache.
That's right, Ray Keegan.
And there's a good shot right there of Ed Freeman.
And we, of course, hope, as we always do, that the officials will have little or nothing to do with the outcome of this game, in the sense that they won't determine this. It should be a good game. Both of these teams are going to advance to further action, regardless of the outcome of this game.
Right. In fact, the Phoebus Phantom girls will play at Cox on Wednesday at 6 o'clock or 6:15, whatever the time is, but they play the first game, and the winner of the second game will play the second game over at Cox, Tim.
We're just about set to go as Natalie Thomas will jump center against Tammy Boggs to get us started.
Natalie Thomas is the best athlete out there on the floor. Mike Talon says she's a great athlete.
I would think that this girl with the ball would have something to say about that. Nikki Reed.
And she is a hustler, isn't she, Tim?
She's my choice. I haven't seen Natalie Thomas before, but Nikki Reed has won my heart with her overall hustle and excellent play. The Monarchs trailing 2-0. Bring it down.
Well, the first time these two teams played, Mike Talon played a straight 1-2-2 zone. The next two times he played some man-to-man, and that's when he lost, and he's coming right out here now. He says, we don't have anything to lose here.
The Monarchs controlling the offensive board momentarily, and then Tammy Boggs throws the ball away.
And I can't understand that, Tim. She had the ball. All she had to do was turn, dribble, get the ball out. Don't try to throw the ball away, and that's exactly what happened that time. And you noticed at the beginning of the game the other night, they were real tight, and they made some real bad passes early on, and then they settled down.
You can't afford to get behind this Monarch team. These girls are an excellent team, and there should be...
that guy's starting off right where he did last night.
Monica Hart had dust on her feet from where she'd been standing.
She went over there and was standing there for a good 2 or 3 seconds. But again, that's a judgment call.
All right, blocking foul charge to the Phantoms. And mishandled, and the turnover gives the ball to the Phantoms. Here they come, Nikki Reed. And she is hammered as she goes in. I mean, hammered, and she'll get 2 shots.
And the gal that hammered her got hit in the nose.
She paid the price.
And Nikki didn't go down. But Nikki's a pretty good foul shooter. We saw that the other night. She's one of the gals you don't mind having on a foul line. Mike Talon's done a good job of teaching all these girls the proper method in shooting a basketball, and you'll see all of them shoot the ball pretty similar, Tim.
Nikki, of course, suffering from the announcer's jinx as she comes up a little short.
Well, she kind of pulled a string on it. She didn't follow through as far as she normally does, and it hit the front of the rim.
Again, I apologize if you're having trouble hearing me. I'm not sure. I think my mic is working now.
Yeah, you coming through on my side, Tim, so...
2-1 in favor of the Phantoms. Put it in. That was number 20, Ricky Watson, who converted for the Monarchs. 3-2 now. 6:50. Reminding you that our 8 minutes in each quarter in high school basketball. They play 4 quarters. Pass inside from Monica Hart is knocked away by Natalie Thomas, and then it is touched by one of the Phoebus players on the attempt to save it, and it goes out of bounds. So Phoebus will have the ball, and Carleen Hargrove.
Well, one thing for sure, Tim, neither one of these teams have got to worry. They're both going to advance to the regional, so Mike, I was talking to Mike earlier, and, you know, he just said kind of let them go, let them play and have fun out there. And you can see that young lady is excellent ball handler and an excellent shooter. That's Natalie Thomas.
Had some real nice looking moves as she got her first basket of the night, and the Monarchs take a 1-point lead. You might wonder, of course, what great motivation there is to win the game when both teams know they are advancing and know they are going to play already determined opponents.
Well, you do end up with the first place trophy, Tim.
And that's what I was going to get at, was the fact that they do have that, as well as, of course, no team wants to go into the tournament on a losing note. Not to mention the fact that Phoebus would like to win this game to knot the season series at 2 games apiece.
Well, Phoebus was in a zone that time, and Menchville was way off on their outside shot.
Juanita Cook fires, doesn't go. It's last touched by the Monarchs, and it will belong to Phoebus. Now Yolanda Keeler will check back in the ball game, and Carleen Hargrove will check out.
Well, that spot is open there in the middle of that defense for...
Nikki Reed comes away with the ball, put it up and in.
Well, that's hustle. That's straight hustle, Tim.
Nikki Reed now with all 5 points for the Phantoms. Not a big crowd on hand, a vocal crowd.
Very vocal, Tim. Both of these teams have pretty good followings.
Natalie Thomas. I can see how he has the respect for her because she really does have some great moves. Natalie Thomas now with 2 baskets, and it's 6-5 as the lead seesaws. Ball knocked away. Back come the Monarchs, a 3-on-1. Put it up and no.
That was an excellent call, Tim. Yolanda did get down there, got planted, and it may have been a makeup call, but she did have position established. That was an excellent job Yolanda did.
So the foul is against the Monarchs. The basket is erased, and it remains 6-5, the Monarchs. Phoebus is the team in the blue uniforms tonight. They're the visitors for the purposes of this game. And it goes to big Monica Hart. Turn around and put it in.
Well, the other night, Tim, we watched her shooting and getting hit on the arm 4 or 5 times in a row, and it wasn't called. Tonight, she's concentrated and got it. Here's a three-pointer. We haven't seen one. That's the first one in the girls' game we've seen.
And a foul being called. This one is on the Phantoms. It's going to be on Juanita Cook. And Juanita has to be careful not to get herself in foul trouble. She did get some foul problems last game for the Lady Monarch, or Lady Patriots. Get it right yet, the Lady Phantoms. And this is Yolanda Keeler. Nikki Reed follows, puts it in.
That's what it's hard to teach people to do, is a follow up on a layup, because sometimes they're missed, and that's what Nikki did.
Three-point attempt again, chased down by the Lady Monarchs. Doesn't go, and Tammy Boggs clears the boards, and then...
That hurts. You got the ball, and you're going down the floor, and you lose it.
Yolanda Keeler just couldn't find the handle.
Well, notice one thing that time, Tim. If you watch Natalie Thomas, when she shoots, she floats towards the basket. And she is charging when she does that, if the defender does not move. And this is one thing Mike Talon says that she does, which is one of her weaknesses. And there's a turnover. But we'll keep an eye on that and see what happens throughout the game.
And you're starting to say Nikki Reed has 7 of the 9 Phoebus points. This is she with the ball, and she is fouled. And this will be charged to Karen Barefoot. That's her second.
Yeah, she's the one that fouled Nikki the last time on the layup try, Tim.
And she will come out of the ball game now, and in her place will be Lisa Van Gilder, number 12 for the Monarchs.
Second personal foul, third team foul.
It's a player control foul, third team foul against the Monarchs, and it'll, with 4 minutes remaining here in the first quarter, Phoebus with a 9-6 lead. Nikki looking inside, kicks it out to Tammy Boggs. She likes to shoot from outside. That's her game. In it goes to Juanita Cook under the basket, doesn't go. Hart tips it out to Tammy Boggs. She'll drive the baseline, put it up, yes.
Nice shot.
Tammy Boggs gets her first basket of the night, and it's a 5-point Phoebus lead, and we've got traveling.
And that's something that Menchville likes to do, Tim, is run up and down the floor, but they're losing the ball and not doing some concentration out there. And, of course, Mike Talon would like to avenge those 2 mid-season losses. Right now, the sharper team seems to be Phoebus.
Nikki Reed got scratched on the play. She got hit in the face, holding her cheek, but she won't let that deter her.
Short. Nice. Good job of following, Tim. What she should have done is turn around and gone up with the shot rather than trying to come out with it, because she was in the lane.
Van Gilder driving on Boggs. Feeds it off underneath. Durso can't get it. And Tammy Boggs comes out with it, spots Nikki Reed at half court. And now Nikki will hold it up.
That was a smart move, because she was outmanned.
11-6. Pass inside intended for Juanita Cook is picked off by Thomas. Natalie Thomas should have been.
Oh, that was unreal. I mean, that was an obvious foul, Tim. They run over people and not call it. I don't understand that.
Somebody was fouled, whether it be a blocking foul or a charging foul. Something had to be called. The officiating for the girls' game has been suspect, in our opinion, throughout this year. That's not to say they're not doing their job, but they, in our opinion, they could be doing a little better job. Ball is lost out of bounds, belongs to Phoebus. On that last play, and again, I don't want to referee bait because that has no great purpose to it. But that last call, something should have been called. There was a blocking foul or a charging.
Well, it was either a block, a charge, or a travel, Tim. It was one of those three things, and there was no whistle blown. I guess each of them thought the other one was going to do something.
Tammy Boggs stepped without dribbling.
Taking it from the Menchville Monarchs, number 20, Ricky Watson, and she'll be replacing number 54, Yolanda Garrison.
2 minutes, clock moving. Tim Cole, Bob Hintz, and A.G. Womble here at Holland Fieldhouse for tonight's game, the championship game between the Menchville Monarchs and the Phoebus Phantoms. Nikki Reed will bring it up. Phoebus with a 3-point lead.
Monica Hart did a good job defensively at that time, Tim. Just kept her hands up in the air.
Juanita Cook all alone. Nice pass.
Excellent pass inside by Tammy Boggs.
Nona Baycott with a nice move to the bucket. Juanita Cook returns the favor. Pace is picking up here, 15-10 with 1:10 to go in the first quarter. Phoebus with a 5-point lead. All alone. Nice shot.
Well, when you press, you got somebody open, and if the other team can see it, they'll get an uncontested shot, and that's what happened that time. Menchville did a good job finding the open man. At halftime, at halftime in the first quarter, AG is going to talk with Mr. Navikas, who is one of the assistant principals at Phoebus High School, Tim.
We've got a foul. Foul is on number 32. That's Natalie Thomas, that's her first. The fourth team foul, and going to the free throw line will be Monica Hart. And she'll have 2 shots. She has 1 basket in the game so far. 7 points for Nikki Reed, 4 for Juanita Cook, and 2 each for Hart and Boggs, comprise the 15 points for the Phantoms.
That time on that foul shot, Sam, she just didn't get her legs into the shot. She didn't bend down and follow through. And again, the ball hit right on the front of the rim. They got to do a little more concentration.
I see our guest official has arrived. Monica goes 0 for 2 at the free throw line, and it goes out of bounds, last touch by the Phantoms. Do we know yet who AG might have lined up for a between periods interview? And we've got a call against Nikki Reed. That's her first. Nikki comes into the game averaging a little more than 15 points per ball game.
Personal foul, third team foul.
And they will inbounds right directly in front of our broadcast position. 40 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. Last touch by the Monarchs as Juanita Cook was there. Juanita got herself in foul trouble Wednesday night, if you recall, against Ferguson.
That she sure did, Tim.
And still managed to score in double figures, even though she basically played 1/2 of the ball game.
Well, she spent a lot of time on the bench.
Inbounds pass is chased down by Amanda Stegel, who just came in the ball game for the Monarchs.
Well, I don't know if Phoebus is going to take the last shot or not, Tim. They got 31 seconds. We'll see what they're going to do.
15-12. Tammy Boggs likes to shoot from the baseline. Nikki Reed in heavy traffic, and we've got a foul. This will be on Lisa Van Gilder. That's her first.
Foul's going to be against the Lady
And that
Monarchs.
will be a bonus time for the Phantoms as they will shoot the bonus.
Evidently, he called a foul prior to her going up to shoot, and the lady that fouled her did evidently foul her before the act of shooting because she was fouled 2 other times. Too.
So Nikki Reed with 7 points in the ball game. We'll check rather step up to the free throw line. Chantel Pitt comes in the ball game and will give Juanita Cook a breather. You know, a question I have for Pat Patrick, and it may be a pretentious question, but it would be curious if the officials feel any pressure by the fact the game is televised locally.
I don't know, Tim.
Good question if you think about it. One thing to have no witnesses.
You got a good point there.
13 seconds left in the quarter. I believe now that we'll see Phoebus go for the one shot. Mike Talon tells Nikki Reed to push the ball up the court. There you see Tammy Boggs. They're giving the countdown from the fans. Nikki will force it up and go.
And that's what you want to do. You want to get the last point before the quarter. And that was an excellent first quarter for both teams, Tim.
When you're hot, Nikki Reed ends up with 9 points.
Well, we're going to AG anytime we're ready.
Where is AG? Oh, there he is. I see him across the way. Take it away, AG.
All right, Tim and Bob, we got Rick Navickas, assistant principal at Phoebus High. Rick, 17-12, your thoughts on that first quarter?
Well, AG, I think that the girls are going to finally beat Menchville this year. They've come close both times, and tonight, I mean, they're really full of hustle. A couple of breaks, I know they can beat them.
It was a good shot by Nikki at the buzzer.
It was that. She's a clutch player.
Mike Talon doing a super job.
Mike, I think, is what you call a quintessential coach. He does a great job, and I don't think there's a better coach around.
Year after year, he's up there.
He does, and he doesn't have the super talent. He makes this team.
I think he's got 1 returning this year, Nikki.
Right, but he's got a lot coming back next year, so watch out.
Rick Navickas, Tim and Bob.
Thanks a lot. And Cindy, he's right in there between Rick Navickas and my buddy Bolin Shoup, who also goes to your barber.
Maybe we get AG to bring over his
Yeah, we'll
mic.
get the mic over here and let Pat just kind of give some comments about this, the game.
Natalie Thomas, nice spinning jump shot.
She is an excellent ball player.
Show Pat how to turn that thing on. He knows how to call a good basketball game. He may not know how to work that one. No, we've got no shot here.
He's calling traveling.
If you get a chance, if you can ask, Pat, let me ask you while we're watching the action, does the fact that the games that are televised put any pressure on the officials to kind of feel like, well, gee, you know, the world's watching? Does that ever come into play?
You've got too much to worry about right out there on the court to have any idea what you guys are doing over here. And we especially don't want to know what you're saying.
I definitely want to know what Bob's saying.
No, I don't bait Pat. I did disagree with one of his calls last night, but if it was only one, that's real good, Pat.
That is good. And I have a feeling I know which call you're talking about. There were a number of people who let me know they disagreed with that one.
But again, see, we're looking from a different angle than what the officials are, and you have certain points that you have to be on the floor, if I'm not mistaken, when you officiate a game, so that you get a better angle. Is that correct?
That's right. You try to stay in position, and sometimes officials are out of position also. And, you know, we do the best we can, and then there's going to be sometimes where you're just going to blow one. Yeah. And sometimes you just acknowledge the fact you blew one, and you keep on going.
There you go. Well, that's the way you got to do it.
The Monarchs have come out here in the second quarter and scored 6 straight points to take a 1-point lead as they had trailed 17-12 at the quarter break, and in less than a minute and a half have put 6 unanswered points on the board.
Well, we've noticed Tammy Boggs is one of the better shooters for Phoebus, and she has not hit yet on her side shots, and this is one of the things that Mike Talon had talked about earlier, was that his team shot poorly the second 2 times they played Phoebus. And now we got a timeout. If we got a chance, you got a couple of questions you want to ask Mr. Patrick here.
Yeah, of course, as I mentioned before, Pat, I watched you play in high school. As a matter of fact, I was just a couple of years ahead of you.
Way back when, ancient history.
But what made you want to become an official after being a high school player of note and realizing the tough job that they do have?
Oh, well, I just enjoy the game, and I really feel that when I started officiating, I was doing it at the University of Virginia. I headed up the intramural officials for 6 years, even through law school. And I really enjoyed it and worked with the other students, and we officiated ball games. And then that's when I decided to go ahead and join the local association up there. And it gives me an opportunity to give back to the game something. And having played the game, a rule book's a rule book, but having played it, you have a pretty good idea of what really makes a difference and what doesn't. And I enjoyed it. I really do.
It's probably the toughest job in the world because you are definitely not going to please everybody ever. You really can't. It's probably the toughest job that I can think of.
Well, I have one question for you, Pat. I know it's a tough job and all that, but now the caliber of the athletes are a whole lot better. I mean, the 5 people on that floor are a lot better physical specimens and have better skills than they did before. Does that make your job tougher?
Well, I want to take a little bit of exception to that. I mean, really. But no, I think basically, Bob, you're right. The kids are quicker. As a whole, they're probably bigger and stronger than they used to be. But still, if the official stays in shape, and you just got to stay on top of it. Yeah. That's the whole key to it. Stay on top of it, and you got to sell your calls. That's what you really have to do.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I got another question I want to ask Pat, but let's get back to the game for just a minute. During this time, since the beginning of the second quarter, Phoebus has yet to score. And Natalie Thomas is just blowing my mind. She is one superb shooting.
Well, this is what Mike Talon had said, and Tim, I don't think she's missed maybe 1 or 2 shots tonight so far. And that's going to make a difference in this game whether Phoebus can get their shooting touch back, because they had it the first half, but they are not doing well at all this quarter.
Yolanda Keeler at the other end lost the ball, and then Nikki Reed.
That's got to be the hardest call in basketball. Because it is a judgment call. Did the defender get set? Did the defender move after they got set? And you can look at it on slow motion and hard to call. And you guys got to call that, Pat, in a blink.
That's right. And especially on a breakaway such as that, is that you've got players coming down the court, and you're trying to get in front of the play so you can get the best possible angle. And sometimes you just can't get there, and you gotta make sure you get as good an angle as you possibly can. But I think Eddie Freeman made a good call on that. I think the player was right there. It planted, and the offensive person went right into it.
Well, evidently we've had a technical called on the coach. I saw the coach was being held back there. She obviously didn't agree, and had I been sitting on that bench, I wouldn't have agreed either, because you got to be a little biased when you're out there.
Well, you've been a coach. I've seen you disagree with officials before, and that's certainly a prerogative of a coach.
Not like it used to be, though, I think that one of the best things they did was institute that seatbelt rule on the coach. Because I think referees really took a lot of abuse back when you played ball from the coaches on every level. They really did, because the coaches get up and literally, they used to incite their players as well as the crowd, which really wasn't fair to the officials. You guys are out there doing the best job you can, regardless of whether I think you made the right call or not. Somebody's got to make that call.
That's right. Well, and that was the basis for the rule, is that it wasn't so much any particular area of the country, but they were having a great deal of difficulty in fans getting so irate because they were just getting a lot of fuel, should I say, from the coach.
Too much emotion. They were getting the emotion of the crowd to a frenzy point, which is not good.
That's right, and you don't need that. And it's a tough job out there. You're watching 10 people in a very close area and you've only got 4 eyes watching, 20 feet and 20 hands, and you can't see it all the time.
Well, that's for sure. It's we got a foul. The basket was good, but there was a foul after the call. 32. That must have been on Natalie.
Natalie Thomas, and that is her second personal foul. There you see Nikki Reed saying it's 1-1 and bringing to the attention of the official. One of the things, Pat, that we were talking about after the game the other night was the fact that Dr. Stills, who does a lot of the producing as well as directing for our productions, was asked me after the game, he says, how was the game? And I said, oh, it's a really good game. I said, weren't you here? And he says, no, I was doing the directing and I didn't have a chance to watch the game. Do you find yourself not having really any idea what the score in the game is because you're so involved in the officiating?
Very rarely do we really look at the score, look at the clock sometimes, but you look up there and you see 3 minutes and you go, well, I know I got another 3 minutes to go. You need to have an eye on what the time is, but it's interesting that when you go in for halftime, a lot of times you'll ask, well, is so-and-so up, 5, 10 points? And it's funny how often you don't even know who's winning the ball game.
We commented at that Denby-Hampton game that the play was quite physical, to say the least. In fact, I equated it in some capacity to the NBA because the hand checking and the physical contact was really excessive in our opinion. Did you find that you and your partner for that game discussed it and said we're going to let him play, or how do you approach that sometimes?
All right, well, it's a lot of it is an individual philosophy on it, and I want to see the kids go out there and play ball, and I want to see the officials be involved as little as possible. So perhaps I let them play a little more than some. But that game was a physical game, but you got to remember, if you look at it from an advantage-disadvantage point of view, if 2 guys are in the paint and they're kind of leaning on each other, if nobody's getting an advantage, I don't want to call it.
The only problem I foresee is at times it gets out of hand.
Well, and there was one call that
flying, you got to go.
There was one call that Tim was really kind of upset about. It would happen right in front of our announcer's booth. Was a Hampton man was getting the ball on an inbounds, and a Denby man nudged him, and he went over and it was called back court. But he was definitely given a little help to get back court.
Well, then we blew that call.
Yeah. But that's hard to see. You couldn't see it because of the angle. We could see it, but there was a ball player between you and the hand.
That's right, and like I said, the officials are going to make mistakes. I don't want you to keep the number of mistakes that I make.
Your point is valid because in situations
we're not doing that.
You can't see everything. Even the best officials in the world cannot see everything all the time. So
well, that's one of the advantages of a 3-man crew.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Do you think that should be something they should have in high school?
Well, I think it's still up to your administration and all, because it's an added expense.
That Natalie Thomas is an excellent ball player, Tim. Not only shoots the ball well, but she passed that ball one-handed off the dribble, hit a gal going in for a layup down there. And Phoebus is really struggling right now. The zone is bothering them. It looks like Menchville has jacked up the pressure one notch. The intensity out there for the Menchville team has really moved up a notch on defense.
You know when that intensity moved up is when Coach King started getting up and she got a technical, and what did it do? It fired up her team. They're playing really aggressive basketball right now, and it's to their advantage.
That was a good call on that play.
And it really was.
Reed used her shoulder in an effort to get position. 26-19. If I can get back to the scoring just a moment, Menchville has gone out to a 7-point lead with only 2:39 left here in the first half. There you see Mike Talon.
But Phoebus hadn't scored but 2 points this quarter, Tim.
They've been outscored 14-2.
And that was on 2 foul shots.
Yep, 2 separate foul shots. And Phoebus has to get back in this ballgame. They have not scored a basket here in the second quarter.
they're going to have to become a little more aggressive, and a play like that will help. A good steal if they can convert.
Terry Boggs appeared to have traveled after the pass.
I thought she had traveled too, but
What did you think, Pat?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
see
you.
that.
A chance to get...
But that's smart because
You have to remember, he's also a lawyer.
Amen.
Well, it's a pleasure having you here, Pat. I know you've got a real important game coming up between two very good teams.
It ought to
You've
be
seen
an
most of
excellent
the teams
game.
play. In your opinion, if I could put you on the spot here, who do you think is the best two teams in the district? The two teams that are going on, do you think?
I'll tell you what, that's really hard to say. This district is really balanced this year. Now, I think the best four teams at this point in time were the top four seeded teams. And they, of course, all got to the semifinals. I think Denby didn't have a good game, nor did Ferguson. And both of them got beat because of the abilities of those teams. Either Hampton or Warren could go somewhere in the regional tournament. I think they both got a lot of talent out there. And Hampton's on a roll right now.
They've won about 6 or 7 in a row.
7 to be exact. Juanita Cook on the baseline, yes.
And that's what they got to do is start getting that ball inside, and they have, and they've got 2 quick baskets and cut the lead down to 3.
26-23 with a minute and a half and some change remaining here in the first half. This game for the championship of the Peninsula District girls. Of course, as we mentioned before, both of these teams will advance to regional play, as 2 representatives will be forthcoming for the Peninsula. Is that because of the number of teams in the district, Bob? Is that because we have...
Well, it's because of the lineup with the other districts. You have to end up with 8 teams to go in the regionals.
On the give and go, Thomas's shot doesn't go. Monica Hart wipes the boards clean, and then a foul, and this will be the 4th foul on Karen Barfoot, and that's got to be a big one. She didn't like that call at all.
She wasn't real happy about it. Pat, let me ask you a question. I don't know how the officials are picked, but I know that the top officials usually do the semis and the finals, or somewhere in there, and that's where you're in here, and I think that's a pat on the back for you because you do a good job. But the girls officials, do the girls officials not call any of the boys games, and the officials at the boys call none of the girls games? Is that the way it is?
No, the officials interchange.
Oh, they do?
You'll do girls games and boys games depending on how you're assigned.
Okay.
And what occurs is that the coaches get the opportunity to submit lists of referees that they have observed over the year, and those officials make the tournament. In other words, they get to call the tournament, and then the commissioner assigns the respective officials to the games. Like Eddie did one of the boys' quarterfinal games, and I think Ray did too.
Right.
But they've just been picked to do the finals of the girls' game.
Okay, because I didn't know if there was a set officials just for the girls' games, a set officials for the... I may be a little prejudiced, but it looks like me the better officials do the boys' games, and maybe that's because of the talent and the ability level is a little bit better at that level. I don't know.
Well, to be honest with you, it's like Eddie and Ray here are 2 of the better officials in the association, and it's really an honor to do the boys or the girls finals.
Okay, well, you answered the question for me, and I appreciate that, Pat. Well, that's a quick comeback, 26-all, Tim.
Really was. They were down 26-19 and have scored a streak of their own. Both teams have been scoring in streaks. And we're tied at 26 with 1:10 to go in the half. Nikki Reed has 16 points here in the first half. She has got 16 for her team, and Natalie Thomas has 16 for the Monarchs. That's Natalie Thomas being double teamed in the backcourt. Lisa Van Gilder will bring it into the corner. Spins away from Tammy Boggs, shoots it from 13, it doesn't go. And now the Phantoms with a chance to take the lead.
Well, Tim, they have the lead.
Excuse me, you're right, they have the lead. I was thinking they were behind by a point. So 27-26 with 45 seconds to go in the half. Tim Cole, Bob Hintz, A.G. Womble, and our guest official here at the table, Pat Patrick. Monica Hart's shot spins around and comes out.
Well, I was surprised she got that close. She shot that awful hard being that close underneath the basket.
Natalie Thomas dishes it out. Van Gilder double teamed, and
that was a good call. She didn't walk. She stopped, and then she moved her pivot foot.
These are two excellent girls teams, and I think both of them have an opportunity to go somewhere in the regionals. And I tell you what, this one I think is going to go right down to the wire.
Well, I believe it will too, Pat. I was talking to Mike Talon. He knows he plays Wednesday. He plays Cox, but he plays at Cox,
right?
Which is that's got to be a tremendous advantage to the Cox girls team.
And the Cox girls team has been a perennial.
Yeah, that's what he said. I'm playing the best team, and he says, and that may be good. Maybe I can beat them.
That's right. That's right. And you never know. You never know. You go out there and play hard, and you know the ball falls your way, and you can upset anybody.
Juanita Cook with a basket right at the conclusion of the first half.
Well, that happened at the end of the first half, Tim, when Phoebus scored right at the end of the half. But they come back from 7 down to be 4 up, or 3 up.
I guess we're going to have to ask Pat. We've lost his microphone. I just want to ask you one last question, Pat. Will you be doing any postseason play off of the peninsula? Will you be going to the regionals?
Don't know yet. Don't know. Haven't heard. As far as doing the state tournament, I was fortunate to have done it the last 6 years, and I think it's time for somebody else to rotate in from our area to do it.
Listen, it was a pleasure having you join us at halftime. I know you're going to have to leave us to get ready to officiate the boys' game. Good luck on tonight's game. It's going to be a tough game because the loser goes home, so there's a lot of pressure on everybody. I'm sure the officials feel that pressure too.
Oh yeah, and we're just hopeful to give them the best possible game we can, and I expect a real close, hard-fought game all the way down to the end.
Good enough.
Thanks a lot for inviting me.
Appreciate
Our pleasure, Pat. Okay, I think we've got another interview coming up here.
Oh yeah, AG's got my old buddy Seabowl and Shoop out there. You'll see, a good-looking one, and then the other side is AG. So, AG, go ahead and take it.
All right, thank you, Tim. Bob, we got Bolin Shoop, the tournament director here, and Bolin, your thoughts on the first half here?
Well, it's a good ball game. I'm glad to see Menchville challenging Phoebus. Phoebus has been dominating the league for a long time, but it's nice to have two teams that are equal.
All right. Big game coming up later on, the Crabbers and Warwick.
Yes, Warwick and the Crabbers. It should be a real good ball game. One thing that makes it interesting is the fact that they're fighting for a position in the regional.
Okay. Tournament director, how'd you get appointed to this job?
Well, I guess you'll have to ask Tom Bailey. I didn't have to do a lot of campaigning.
You didn't campaign?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, what all's involved in running a tournament like this?
Well, first of all, you got to get some good people to help you, and we have some good people. And I guess the first thing we do is submit a budget to the district council, which is made up of the Peninsula District principals. And once that approved, then we go ahead and get people to do the different jobs and so forth.
Things seem to be running smooth so far out here.
Well, so far, Mr. Ellison, Ray Ellison, who kind of coordinates things, does a super job. He's at Bethel, and Larry Waddell has been helping me. He's the assistant tournament director. And, of course, I always go back to Mr. Bailey when I don't know what to do.
Okay. You going to campaign again next year for this job?
Well, I hope I have a lot of competition. I really enjoy it. I enjoy sport.
All right, doing a great job, Bolin, and congratulations on running a great tournament.
Thank you, and I appreciate those kind words from Coach Hintz.
Okay. Bolin Shoop, tournament director. Thank you.
That was a good interview. Bolin Shoop does an excellent job over at Bethel High School, Tim.
He goes my hair brewer too.
Yeah, he goes your barber too. Okay, any final things you want to say before we wrap this thing up for the end of the first half?
No, as I said, both teams had streaks in the first half. It'll be interesting to see how the second half goes. Phoebus led by 5 at the break and then went behind by 7. And then they came back and are ahead by 3. And I'll have some halftime statistics for you. And we'll have the second half of this fine basketball game. But first, let's take a brief timeout.
That was excellent. Pat, boy, that was neat.
Tim Cole with Bob Hintz and A.G. Wample back at the Holland Fieldhouse here on the campus of Hampton University. Our halftime score sees the Phoebus Phantoms with a 3-point lead, 26 29-26. They led by 5 at the quarter break.
And they were down by 7 at one time, Tim, so that's a tremendous turnaround.
They were stone cold to start the second quarter. First 4 minutes, they had a single 2-point total for the first 4 minutes, and then came on and scored a total of 12 points in the quarter to take a 3-point lead. Both teams are being basically led by one player. Nikki Reed led Phoebus with 16 points. Contributing to that were 8 points from Juanita Cook, and then 2 points each from Monica Hart and Tammy Boggs. Tammy Boggs with just 2 points is quite a surprise, because normally she's going to have 6-8 points at halftime.
And she has been taking some good shots, Tim, but I think she's just a little tight and is not following through as good as she has in the other games.
And rounding it out was Yolanda Keeler with a point to total the 29 points that Phoebus has at halftime. On the other side of the ledger, the Monarchs were paced by Natalie Thomas, who had 16 points on 8 baskets. Phoebus, or rather the Monarchs, never did shoot a free throw in the first half. And she shot 62% from the floor, did Natalie Thomas. We alluded to her expertise, and she is a very fine basketball. Can you imagine having Nikki Reed and Natalie Thomas on the same team?
Well, we may get to see them both on the same team this summer, Tim, when they play, when the Canadian team comes down.
Along with Dawn Pabst and others. So that's
yes.
8 points for Nona Baycott and 2 points for Ricky Watson. And the Monarchs do have one girl in foul trouble. That would be Karen Barefoot. And she has 4 personal fouls, and unlikely we'll see much action until late in the game for the girls of the Menchville Monarchs. Again, I remind you, we've got 2 8-minute quarters to go in this ball game. Both of these teams will advance to additional play in the regionals. And while we have the kind of the clock down, Bob, why don't we discuss, if we can, the air times for this game as well as the other boys' games that are coming up.
Okay, the Phoebus Menchville game that's being played right now is going to air Monday at 5 p.m. on the 29th of February. The Wednesday, the 2nd of March at 5 p.m. and Thursday, the 3rd of March at 9 p.m. The Hampton-Ferguson game, which was played the other night, will air Tuesday night, the March the 2nd at 9 p.m. The second game tonight, Hampton and Warwick, will air Monday at 9 p.m. and Wednesday the 2nd at 9 p.m. and Thursday at 9 a.m. And then, of course, we have some the semifinals of the CIAA we'll get to a little later on, Tim.
All right, the second half is underway. Phoebus has the ball to start the second half. They also have a 3-point lead, as they are trying to even the year-long season with the Monarchs. They have lost twice to Menchville and have won the one game. Monica Hart from 13 feet, it doesn't go. Tammy Boggs rebounds and puts it in.
And that's an excellent rebounding position that Tammy got in.
So Tammy doubles her scoring totals, and it's a 5-point lead for the Phantoms. Again, we thank Pat Patrick, the official for the boys' game that's coming up between Hampton and Warwick, for visiting with us during the second quarter. It was a pleasure to have his insight into both the games and the officiating. And so many of us forget that officiating is a very tough job. It is a job. It's a thankless job, because half the time you're going to be making someone angry at you.
Well, that's true, but I'm glad we got some insights to some of the officials. So I think that was a good chance we had to talk to an official from Tim. The only time we get to talk to him really is to talk at them as they go by. But it was nice to ask him some questions and find out some different things, and we really appreciate Pat taking the time to get up here and talk to us and just prior to him getting ready to go do the boys' game.
Natalie Thomas on the baseline, can't get it to go. She didn't miss many in the first half.
Well, she has missed 2 here in the second half, and they were both within 8 foot of the basket, which is very unusual for her to miss those shots.
By the way, just one final note on Pat Patrick. As we have a foul inside, I believe they're going to
call out on Tammy Boggs. She threw an elbow because she was getting punched from behind. But again, in that situation, the official was right, because she did throw the elbow, but what she did was that was the second foul, and that's the one he saw. So you have to be a little cool out there.
My final wrap-up on Pat Patrick and officiating, he's a very personable gentleman, and I still think he's a little off-center for wanting to be an official. I don't care what his motivation. I don't think they've got enough money in the world, and I know these fellas don't get much. Anybody at home that thinks these officials get $500 or $600 for a game are sadly mistaken.
Well, and
they probably get about $25 for a game, and that's
well, I know they used to get about $5 to $10. I don't know what they're getting now, but Pat made a good point. He made a good point. He's given back to the game. He feels the game has given a lot to him. He was an excellent ball player through high school and college, and so we're very fortunate to have somebody that will give something back, Tim.
If memory serves me correctly, too, my remembrance of him was that he was an excellent sportsman as well as
absolutely
an athlete. You know, a lot of players, you remember the ones that fussed and raised Cain with the officials on a call. Pat Patrick usually just handed the ball to the official and went the other way. So I guess the way you play the ball is usually the way you become an official.
Well, and his demeanor is that way. He's not the type of person that's going to take advantage of something.
Back to the game at hand. We've got a pushing foul inside. Nikki Reed had done a nice job of stealing the ball, but just before that, one of her teammates was called for a foul.
Foul is going to be against the Lady Mounds, number 12, Yolanda Keeler.
Yolanda Keeler is called for reaching in on the play. So Nikki made a good job of stealing the ball, but Yolanda Keeler fouled one of the Monarchs before that occurred. Natalie Thomas will inbounds underneath the Monarch basket.
And what she'll do is she'll try to swing.
Whatever she was trying to do, it didn't work, as Nikki Reed comes up with the ball for the Phantoms. 5:35 remaining in the third quarter. 31-26. As it's been just 2 points scored here, those by Phoebus here in the second half. Tammy Boggs will shoot from 16.
That was an excellent looking shot, Tim. It really was. It just hit the front of the rim, but she shot that ball good.
Natalie Thomas, who does a good job. No, she did a great job, but she ran over Yolanda Keeler.
And she really did. She really did, Tim. I mean, Yolanda Keeler really took it, and that's got to be, what, 2 or 3 on her, Tim?
That's 3 on Natalie Thomas. So that could become a factor here, as Natalie Thomas, the basic scoring power of the Monarchs, certainly in this game she is, with 16 of their 26 points. And
yeah, she's got more than half of them, so you're right. She would be sorely missed if something were to happen and she'd have to be pulled out because of foul trouble.
Monica Hart at the baseline, has it blocked. This is Nona Baycott. She's got 8 points. She gets her own rebound. It won't go. Underneath, a foul, and this will be on Tammy Boggs.
Well, that wasn't a bad foul because that was almost an uncontested layup there, and Tammy did go for the ball, catch her in the hand. This game is everything we thought it would be, Tim. It's excellent play on both parts.
You know, you and I have talked about it, not necessarily on camera, but throughout the year we have been somewhat disappointed in the matchups. There was not the parity that we had hoped there would be amongst the girls' teams in the district. But it's a pleasure to do a game like this, not that the other ones weren't. But this is the kind of game you enjoy because it's a competitive game. Whereas we saw some 70-20 type blowouts that really just isn't much fun for anybody.
Well, and it's hard to announce that kind of a game too.
Well, like I said, it's just not much fun for anybody. It's not competitive, and it really doesn't serve any positive purpose.
Tim, if I'm not mistaken, is that the first foul shots that Menchville has shot in this game?
It absolutely is. They had no foul shot attempts in the first half. 3-point Phoebus lead. A little more than 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. This is Yolanda Keeler as she's looking over the situation. Now they're going to pull it out as Phoebus, with a lead, can make the Monarchs come out of that zone. Tammy Boggs set kind of a mean pick there. No foul, no harm. Phoebus.
That was a good no call, Tim. You're right.
Pass is tipped. Monica Hart will put it up. It's tipped again, and it's knocked outside. Good play to tip the ball out for Natalie Thomas, and she is hammered as she goes in for the layup. So there's been some hard-nosed basketball being played out there. We've seen that happen twice now, where there's been take no prisoners on the layup attempts.
And these ladies out here are playing
not
for
so
keeps.
ladylike. Not as we remember ladies to be.
But they
I'm
are.
not saying that was dirty. I'm talking about this is hard.
No, there was nothing dirty about that. She went for the ball. There was all ball she was going for.
She didn't submarine. I tell you, one of the things that can get the hair to stand up on the back of my neck quicker than anything is someone to undercut somebody on a layup.
While they're in the air, that is scary. It really is,
It is
Tim.
scary. We all remember that fall that David Thompson took years ago when he was playing for North Carolina State. Remember that when he was?
And he come down and hit his head.
Oh
yeah.
my gracious! My heart stopped when I saw that. Nothing could be more terrifying to see that. But a good hard-nosed play when you go to the basket, make them make it at the free throw line. And Natalie Thomas makes 1 of 2, and it's a 2-point lead now. A little less than 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Phoebus looks to not this season series. Menchville, of course, wants to go into the regional playoffs on the momentum of a win. Yolanda Keeler drives from 14. It's blocked, and we've got a foul inside.
It looks like it's being called against one of the Phoebus girls, number 24. That's exactly who it is, Tim.
Juanita Cook, that is her first.
The Lady Phantoms, number 24, but that is her third personal foul, and it is the 15th foul now against the Lady Phantoms.
And it is bonus time as very quickly Phoebus has gotten themselves in some foul trouble. Not personal foul trouble, but as a team they are, because for the duration of this game, the Monarchs will shoot at least a 1-and-1 on any foul.
And not only that, but they got their best foul shooter at the line.
18 points now for Natalie Thomas. I would think that the Peninsula could certainly put some good representation out on the court. And Nikki Reed.
And Nikki is really upset because that's not the gal that was fouled. And she's telling the official, hey, I think the other gal should be on the foul line. But she lost her argument.
Let's have a replay on that, Dr. Sam.
If we had instant replay, we could have caught it.
Well, you've seen it attempted before. It doesn't always work, but once in a while they will send up a, quote, ringer. I don't know that this was the case. To be honest with you, I didn't see who was fouled.
I didn't either. I know she was under the impression it was somebody else that was fouled, who was definitely not the Natalie Thomas, because that's not the one you want to put on the foul line.
We're tied at 31. The Monarchs keep battling back. They had trailed by 5. Now Tammy
That's
Boggs.
the shot that we've seen Tammy Boggs hit this year, Tim, and that's the first time she's hit that one.
Nikki Reed stole the ball on a super play. Drive the lane. She's fouled before the shot. And she pays the price. I like the way she plays.
I do too. She is so short compared to every other girl out there, and she just goes up and takes the ball right out of their hand. She's very aggressive.
Foul is against Ricky Watson. That's her first. And it'll be a player control foul as they are not over the limit. And of course, Nikki was not shooting when the foul occurred. She did drive to the basket after the foul, but that was not the case. Nikki looks inside. They want to move it around. They'd like to get it to Monica Hart. Nikki steps around her defender, has the shot blocked, gets it back herself. Her persistence is there. She puts it in. She just doesn't give up. Natalie Thomas spots a teammate down the court. She can't hold on to it, and back come the Phantoms. 2-on-1. Nikki Reed, right side, goes right past Natalie Thomas, and now Nikki has 20 points on what's got to be one of her better games of the season. Just like that, 6 straight points. The Phantoms are back up on top by 6. Thomas, and we've got a whistle and no basket.
They called timeout. They had to call the time before the drive, Tim. Whew, this has been a game of spurts. It really has. Phoebus went out and spurted, got the first lead at the end of the first quarter, about 5 points, and then the Menchville come back, took a 7-point lead, and at the end of the half, Phoebus was back up, and now they, after being tied, there was 6 straight points called. This is a very exciting game. Oh, while I got a chance at the end of the third quarter, which is only 2 minutes away, AG is going to talk to Phyllis Henry and Harry Bennett, who are both assistant principals over at Phoebus High School. So this will be we'll get all 3 assistant principals. We had Rick Nikovekis on, and now we got Phyllis and Harry coming on. So we got them all. Now, if we can only get Clay Washington, we can't get him on camera, and I don't know why, too. Maybe he's camera shy.
speaking of Washington, we had a brief visit by Steve Washington, one of the assistant coaches with the Hampton Crabbers football team. The other night, Wednesday night, we mentioned that Danny Mitchell was in the stands. These coaches,
they follow
all the teams. You know,
right. Well, you won't see Danny here tonight. This is the state championship wrestling tournament on this weekend, and he's got a couple wrestlers. Either one is qualified and one is a standby or something. I'm not sure, but that's why we won't see Danny here tonight.
The Monarchs now trying to respond to 6 straight points by the Phantoms. This is Natalie Thomas, guarded by Tammy Boggs. Natalie's pass inside goes awry as the Phantoms will take over on the turnover.
The idea was right. The girl was open, but she just threw it about 3 foot over her head. And again, she's trying to throw those off of the dribble with one hand. She's quite an athlete. Mike Talon said that she could be one of the top athletes in the country if she would improve some of her skills. Well, Nikki is really taking charge, isn't she, Tim?
She really has. She has come out in this ball game and done just that. I don't know too many of her skills that I'd try to improve, at least not Nikki Reed. Spinning one-hander doesn't go, and Monica Hart had it, and she's tied up. The arrow of possession belongs to the Phantoms, or check that, to the Monarchs, so they'll get possession underneath their basket.
Well, that was a quick call, but again, it was a good call, but it was a quick whistle.
And we've got what? We've got an offensive foul. I believe that's our call. The inbounds pass went to one of the Monarchs.
And the foul is on number 20, Ricky Watson.
She got the ball and just kind of lunged into the Phoebus defender. And a good call by the official on that play. 1:45 to go in the third quarter. 39-31, Phoebus by 8 points. Yolanda Keeler kind of testing the water here to see what's going to happen. They're going to spread it out a little bit. Nikki Reed at the bottom right-hand side of your screen is positioning her
There's
players.
the shot she wants. She's been doing jumping jacks from that spot, Tim, wanting that basketball.
And Nikki knocks it away. Nikki Reed does everything for her team. She scores, she rebounds even with her small size, and she is usually there trying to steal that ball. They're going to say it belongs to Phoebus as it was knocked away by one of the Monarchs. 1:11 remaining in the third quarter, and the Phantoms have gone out to a 10-point lead. They led by 3 at halftime.
And Tim, and they're doing it with their defense and the shooting of this gal. She is really shooting with confidence now, Tammy Boggs.
Tammy's warming to the task. And now a timeout as a couple of Phantoms collide. Nikki Reed bowled over Monica
Now,
Hart.
let me tell you what, Nikki Reed is half the size of Monica Hart. She just knocked her down. But that's hustle out there. And I know Mike Talon is tickled with the way his team is doing it. And, of course, Becky King has really got upset because the Phoebus is doing what they want to do. And defense is what got them back in the game, and the shooting of Tammy Boggs.
Tammy has 8 points here in the second half. She has 8 of the 14 points that Phoebus has put on the board. And when she hasn't been scoring, Nikki Reed has. So, in fact, those are the only 2 scorers in the second half here for the Phantoms. Nikki Reed had 16 at halftime. She's added 6, and Tammy has added 8, and that accounts for the 14 points Phoebus has gotten. On the other side of the coin, the Monarchs only have 5 points here. There you see Pat Patrick at the bottom of your screen. Natalie attired, I might add.
He looking sharp tonight, Tim.
Looking sharp is right. 2 points by Ricky Watson here in the second half, and then all the other scoring for the Monarchs has come from Natalie Thomas, who had 16 at halftime and has added 3 here in the second half. 56 seconds remaining in the third quarter. This is Natalie Thomas, guarded very closely by Tammy Boggs.
Well, there's a walk, Tim. She actually changed pivot feet.
She'll throw up a poor shot. It goes off the foot of one of the Phoebus Phantoms.
Tammy Boggs is really playing good defense on Natalie Thomas because she is not shooting with the confidence that she was earlier in the first half.
44 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Tim Cole, Bob Hintz, and A.G. Womble coming to you from Holland Fieldhouse on the campus of Hampton University. We'll have this game for you, as well as the Hampton-Warwick boys game, to decide the other participant in the regional play. Natalie Thomas with her first basket of the second half. And now she's got 21 points, and the Monarchs are within 10.
I don't know how that number 30 for Menchville, that's, who is that? Amanda Stiegel, how she can reach in with the right hand, knock the ball out, now commit a foul. That's almost an impossibility.
She had long arms, but not that long.
No, you're right.
Tammy from 15 misses one of the few shots she's missed here in the second half. Ball belongs to the Phantoms. 22 seconds remaining. Phoebus will advance to regional play Wednesday night, the 2nd of March, against Cox, as Amanda Siegel knocks it out.
That was a good ball. Tim, you and I could hear the thump. I mean, she got all ball at that time.
Inbounds pass to Yolanda Keeler. 15 seconds remain. I'm not sure whether Phoebus is going to be playing for one shot. One might imagine they would. Down inside of 10 now, 7, 6. Tammy Boggs has the ball, guarded by Thomas. Good block. And as the buzzer sounds,
Tammy wasn't too happy about it. Thought she got fouled, Tim. But we got I'm trying to locate A.G. Do you see A.G.?
There's no telling where that boy has gotten to. Let's see, where is Mr. A.G.?
Yeah, he said he had a couple people he wanted to, we're ready for him wherever he is. There he sits with Harry Bennett.
Tim, Bob, we got two assistant principals here for Phoebus, Harry Bennett and Phyllis Henry. Harry, big spurt there in the third quarter.
Oh, it looks good, A.G. If we can hang on to this through this quarter, we'll be real satisfied and real happy.
Okay, Phyllis, job Mike Talon's doing.
Well, Mike is a good teacher. He teaches the fundamentals to this team. It's a very young team. Yolanda's the only senior on the starting five, and we expect to see these girls back again and keep on playing like this, I hope.
All right. Harry, I think if we win tonight, we go to play Cox at Cox. That's somewhat of a disadvantage, is it not?
Yeah, we were kind of hoping that we could get something done about that, but the regional policy dictates that that's where it'll be. So it'll be an uphill battle, but we're going to go at them.
Okay. Tim and Bob, now back to you.
All right, A.G., thank you. Boy, you talk about a roving reporter. With that wireless mic, he is murder. We just don't know where he's going to show up. So the third quarter is set to get underway. The Phoebus Phantoms with a 10-point lead.
Well, one thing we've seen now, Tim, especially about the last 2 minutes of the third quarter and beginning this quarter, is Menchville is in a man-to-man. They have been playing zone virtually the whole game, and they're hoping to put some pressure on the Phantoms and maybe cause some turnovers, get some easy baskets on their own.
I would think we'll see some intensity increase in the defensive play by Menchville, because I know Becky King doesn't want to go into the regionals on a loss. Shot blocked.
And that was a nice pass. Really was a shot block shot.
Nice pass block. Monica Hart got the shot. Thomas at the other end of the court can't get it to fall. Tammy Boggs saves it for Nikki Reed. And we've got the ball knocked out of bounds, no foul.
We got a chance here while to bring the ball in. We want to take a time right here to thank Dr. Walter Lovett and Buster Jackson for their assistance here at Hampton University, Tim, because all this is, we've got to say thank you to them because they have done a tremendous job in helping our crew set up here and just giving them every opportunity to do so. And that's Dr. Walter Lovett and Buster Jackson here at Hampton University.
I have had the pleasure of knowing Dr. Lovett for quite a few years, and he and his staff do a super job here, and they're a bunch of very nice people to work with. So again, let me echo those thanks, as without all the cooperation we receive throughout the year, we could never bring these games to anybody, and certainly here at Hampton University, they've bent over backwards to be helpful. Nikki Reed registers point number 23. She'll get a second shot.
Well, they're going to pick an all-tournament team, Tim, also as well as award the trophies at the end of this game. And I wouldn't surprise me that Natalie and Nikki are both on it, along with Tammy Boggs and maybe a couple, and the Baycoat girl. But there's some real good athletes out there.
47-33. Phoebus by 14. And the foul is on Monica Hart. That's her second. Back in the ball game now, playing with 4 personal fouls, is Karen Barefoot.
But one thing that the Phoebus Phantoms are doing, Tim, is both Tammy Boggs and Nikki Reed are playing Natalie Thomas and making her work real hard to bring that ball up. That's got to wear her out. That's got to slow her down a little bit, and I'm sure that's what Mike Talent is saying. Let's wear this gal out. Let's make her work hard, bringing the ball up. Just don't let it bounce it up and take her time and get a quick blow.
She has not been effective in the second half in comparison to the first half. Of course, it's hard to follow up that act. She had 16 points and shot 62% from the floor. But in the second half here, she has a total of 5 points on 1 basket and 3 free throws. Converting on one of the 2 was Karen Barefoot, and as a starter, that's her first point. She's got to play a little cautiously with 4 personal fouls. Good play inside.
Excellent pass by Nikki Reed. She dribbled down, well, I thought to the point where she almost had to shoot. She got the ball real nice in there to Monica, and Monica put it up. So it wasn't Monica either. It was Juanita Cook. And she's the one, the young lady we talked about the other night, that spent a lot of time on the Pine and ended up in double figures, didn't she, Tim?
And she's in double figures again tonight. She's got 10 points.
And quietly.
Trying to make it 11. And she doesn't get it to go, but Monica Hart will follow. So a 4-point play gives the Phantom team now a 15-point lead as bodies are all over the court.
I tell you what, that Nikki Reed just impresses me to no end. She runs harder than any of the people I've seen out there and works hard. And I hope that young lady is not hurt when she went down, because both her and Nikki were going for the ball. And
once again, while we have an officials timeout, we would like to remind all of you, the coaches specifically, if you have not yet picked up your all-tournament team ballot, please do so. We would like to have the girls all-tournament team selection.
And he's making an announcement right now for the all-team girls team. Let me give it a chance here. Let me talk about what Hampton University against North Carolina Central will be aired Tuesday, the 1st of March at 5 p.m. and Friday at 9 p.m. on the 4th of March. Norfolk State University versus J.C. Smith will be aired Thursday at 5 p.m. and Friday at 5 p.m. of next week. And we'd like to thank all the people that are responsible for bringing those fine games to us for us too, Tim.
All of that happening right here on Channel 29. As I mentioned the other night, we'd like to hear from you. If you have some comments about our coverage, you'd like to see more coverage, in the event you'd like to see less coverage, whatever the no, throw that in just to see if anyone's listening. We would like to hear from you. We'd like to hear from you, and if you'd like to give us a call at 851-8411 anytime during the regular business hours, contact the TV media department and let those fine folks over there at Channel 29 know. We'd like to do more sports, and we'd like to hear from you. We hope you enjoy these games. We certainly enjoy bringing them to you. Monica Hart's shot won't go. Big battle inside, and now we've got a whistle. And a foul, I believe, on Tammy Boggs.
Well, and that kind of foul you don't mind, Tim, because that's an aggressive foul.
That is Tammy Boggs' 3rd personal foul. So she'll have to be a little cautious here with 6:46 to go in the ball game.
Well, Melinda Woodman sets down, Tim, and we've got a new one coming in there. Try to pick up her number.
Kimberly Goodbreed.
Okay, you got her.
Goodbread.
Goodbread.
I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce her name, but anyway, Kimberly's in the ball game. That's number 24. At the free throw line on the front end of the 1-and-1 is Ashley Young. She gets her first point of the ball game. They're still attending to Ricky Watson, I believe it is, that was shaken up on that collision with Nikki Reed, and I hope she's going to be okay.
Well, we got a zone press here that is being
And Nikki Reed is the person. There was a case of kicking the ball. Good call by Ed Freeman.
That was an excellent call because she faked the defender out, and then the defender kicked the ball, which wasn't a bad move in the defender's point because Nikki would have definitely had the 2 points.
Nikki Reed will fire.
Wow, she hits from outside too, Tim.
Nikki Reed does everything but bring on the bucket to the
And
net.
I'm not sure she doesn't do that.
I'm sorry, she really does it all. Her assists have got to be up. She rebounds. She's always hawking the ball. Half of the steals are usually recorded by her. And of course now she's got 26 points on the night. And she's going to make it. She's only a junior, or at least she's not a senior. I'm not sure. She may even be a sophomore.
She's just a junior, Tim.
This is she again. Can't get it to go this time. And it's a 3-on-1. The Monarchs can take advantage if they hurry. But they really didn't get a good shot when you consider they had a 3-on-1. They ended up with a 14-foot jump shot and no rebound. So Becky King has to be a little disappointed in the play of her Monarchs tonight.
I'm sure she is, Tim, because they have played much better against Phoebus. But Phoebus come out here really relaxed.
Well, as you said, they had nothing to lose. And Nikki Reed is fouled once again. Her aggressiveness really pays off. She just took the ball to the hoop.
I'm just kind of speechless, but I tell you, that's the kind of athlete you like to see. She's not real big in stature. She does possess excellent speed, but tremendous knowledge of the game. And I like what Phyllis Henry, the assistant principal at Phoebus, had alluded to earlier, that Mike Talon is a good teacher of fundamentals. And you'll notice that the Phoebus girls all possess good fundamentals, Tim.
Nikki will get the bonus. 54-36 as the Phoebus Phantoms now are looking to make this almost a 20-point bulge. It's 18 points right now, and Nikki makes it 19.
And it definitely is the biggest lead of the ball game.
28 points, and Tammy Boggs steals the inbounds pass. Nikki, who has just eaten them up tonight. Tammy will put it up. It's blocked. Monica Hart gets the rebound, puts it up, and no basket. They say the foul occurred before the shot, which I'm not in total agreement with. Neither is Mike. Oh, my gracious! Not only did it not count, it's an offensive foul. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
no comment.
Give them the benefit of the doubt on that one. So an offensive foul by Monica Hart turns the ball over. That's her third. 5:20 remains in the ball game. Phoebus up by 19. This is Big Monica on the rebound. Nikki Reed looking down the court. She has great court sense. I sound like her agent.
I tell you, I would like that. Well, that wouldn't be a bad thing to have, but she does. She is aware of the situation on the court and the number of players on the court, who's got the advantage. And there's another nice shot by Tammy, which gives them a 21-point lead.
They really give each other a nice compliment because Nikki does all of it, and Tammy has such a nice shot that when you do get a situation where you need a 12, 14-footer, she'll get it for you. And we've got a tie-up for the ball.
And it will go to Phoebus. I'm sorry, check that. It will go to the Monarchs.
4:43 remaining, 57-36. Phoebus led by 5 at the quarter break. They led by 3 at halftime and have simply blown away the Lady Monarchs here in the second half. And unfortunately, shooting like that has plagued the Monarchs throughout most of this ball game.
And they're not shooting the ball good, Tim, but I have to believe that part of it is because they're tired. Phoebus has actually controlled the tempo of this game and have worn the Phantoms out. The Monarchs out. And you look at, if you could see, Monica Hart was bent over, Tim, with her hands on her leg, on her thighs. She's tired.
59-36.
And it's hard to get tired when you're up by 20. You find that adrenaline flows a little more.
Nice shot by Nona Baycott. She's been relatively quiet here. She had 8 points at halftime, and that's her first basket of the second half. So she's got 10. Phoebus now spreading it out a little bit, creating a one-on-one situation for Tammy Boggs. And I'm sure Phoebus like nothing better than to wear some of the time off that clock.
Well, that's what they're going to do, Tim, is run some time off the clock, but they also want to score. This is not a stall.
Nona Baycott throws up an air ball. Underneath, Thomas rebounded. Check that, not Thomas, but in fact Ashley Young, and she was fouled.
Now, at the end of this game, Tim, we will stay for the presentation of the all-district team and the first placed the district tournament trophy and the runner-up trophy. So that is something our viewers have a chance to look forward to, and we will do that same thing at the end of the boys' game.
Ashley Young has 3 points, all of them coming from the free throw line. And we've got a foul inside.
The foul will be against the Phantoms number 15, Tammy Boggs, and that is her 5th personal foul.
So Tammy Boggs is going to foul out of the ball game as she was just called for her 5th personal foul.
And that was hard for me to believe that she was fouled. There was another gal in between. That was a cheap foul at this point of the game. I hate to see that happen, but somebody got fouled, and that's not. That again they.
Number 10, Boggs fouls out with 10 rebounds and 14 points on the night.
Tammy does foul out of the ball game, and she ends up with a total of 14 points on the night. All of those points coming from the floor. At the free throw line on the front end of the 1-on-1, it doesn't go. So Natalie Thomas has cooled off considerably here in the second half. She had 16 at the half, and she's only added 5 to that total here in the second half, and that's the big story as we're looking at a 20-point Phoebus lead, and now they just want to burn some time and maybe get a one-on-one situation. Nikki looking to the official to see if he's counting off to indicate that the defender is close enough to necessitate a count.
And I tell you what, I know the boys that don't realize that that's a call.
Oh, she just knows the game. There's no question about that. Ball lost off the foot of Carleen Hargrove, who's come in for Tammy. 2:47 remaining. This is Natalie Thomas from the top of the key. It doesn't go. And Carleen Hargrove clears the board. Yolanda Keeler. Triple teamed in the backcourt. If they can get the ball up the court, and they do, then they'll have an obvious advantage. And now a 10-second violation against the Phantoms. Nikki upset with her teammate. You'd think they were behind by 3 points instead of up by 20.
They're not giving up anything out. They're still playing. It's 2:30 to go in the ball game, and they're only up by 20. And they're not giving up anything. And three-pointer. I mean, that was from downtown.
Nona Baycoat with a three-pointer, and it's a 13-point total for her. And now it's 59-42, a 17-point lead.
What we're going to do at the end of the awards, Tim, is AG is going to try to get up with Mike Talon and Nikki Reed at the end of the awards between the two games. I'll get it out here in a minute.
Crowd still coming in for this game as well as the second game, which of course will feature the Hampton Crabbers boys team against the Warwick Raiders boys team. And of course the victor in that will go on to further regional play, along with the Denby Patriots, who have already clinched a spot in the regionals by way of being the district champion.
Well, Tim, but you know something, they have not played since last Tuesday. And so that really gives them a week and a half off. And you might get stale. They were starting to do some at the end of the and had some wins going. You go into the tournament, you lose a game, and it really kind of takes a little bit out of your wind out of your sails.
You know, Denby lost 2 out of their last 3.
That's right. I'm sorry, you're right, Tim. They sure did.
In essence, they lost 2 out of the last 3. They lost to Hampton, won the final season game, and then of course lost in the tournament here to the Warwick Raiders.
Now that time, number 12, Yolanda Keeler should have passed the ball. She had two teammates standing under the basket. They were triple teaming Nikki Reed. She got the ball to her, but then Yolanda, instead of passing the ball, dribbled it in, was fouled. So she will go to the foul line, but just shooting a 1-on-1, and here the clock is stopped, and of course you want the clock to run as much as you can if you're Phoebus.
Keeler with just 1 point tonight.
She's a role player, Tim. She's not a scorer out there for the team.
Natalie Thomas spots a teammate down the court. And it should be traveling.
And that was an excellent call, because that's exactly what happened.
In a zone press being applied by the Monarchs. Ball knocked out of bounds by Menchville.
The key here for Menchville is to not let Nikki Reed get the ball. But they're not putting enough pressure on her to stop her from getting the ball.
Monarchs in a man-to-man now. Nikki guarded by Ricky Watson. Stolen by the Monarchs. That's Barefoot who gets it out for Baycott, and she'll score. 15 points.
Well, here you go. I know Mike Talon saying, why do you want to dribble it down there into pressure, make the pressure come to you? And I know he's going to do a little talking during this timeout, Tim.
1 minute and 28 seconds remaining.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to tell you that as soon as
Well, it was a 21-point lead or a 20-point lead, and they've cut it to 15.
action, and we will present our awards and trophies. Once again, this will take place.
But this has been an excellent game as far as the Phantoms concerned, because Mike Talon evidently got his team and told them, listen, we can relax and go out there, because when we watched the Ferguson game Wednesday night, Tim, that both teams were real tight during that first quarter. I think it was only like, maybe 9 points scored the whole first quarter. And this game, Phoebus come out and did not look tight or anything. They looked loose. They've run their offense. Of course, Nikki Reed has been their whole offense until, Tammy Boggs got on track there towards the end and did an excellent job.
Minute 28 remaining. 59-44, Phoebus by 15. Nikki Reed, of course, the floor general for the Phantoms. She and Yolanda Keeler do the ball handling. This is Yolanda. As Phoebus now will go to the free throw line as a foul is called. This will be against Ricky Watson. That'll be her third.
And if you're going to foul somebody, that's who you would foul, because she just missed a foul shot just a minute ago. That's Yolanda Keeler. And so if you're going to put somebody on the foul line, put somebody on the foul line who is not a top foul shooter.
Tammy Boggs came into the game averaging 13-4 and leaves the game with 14 as she is fouled out. Juanita Cook averages 10.9 and she's got 10 on the game. So the Phantoms have stayed pretty much within their range, the exception being that Nikki Reed, who averages 15, got 28. There's a good call.
And that is an excellent call. That is an excellent call. She jumped up and jumped into the player. Well, you can't do that. Defender has a right to that position on the floor, and this is what Mike Talon says, that one thing that Natalie Thomas does is probably hurts her the worst is she goes forward on her jump shots. And that time she was called for the offensive charge.
You know, we're going to see both of these teams in this position for a while. That is, being leaders in the district, because not only do the Phantoms return everybody but Yolanda Keeler, but everyone returns for Menchville except for Delano Durso. They're going to have...
And she did... And I thought she was fouled before the basket that time, but he's giving her that one.
Continuation play, I think they call it in the NBA.
Yeah, well, you don't have that in high school or college, Tim.
Reed will go to the line and attempt to complete the three-point play.
Thomas came into the game averaging 18 points a game, and she will end up with 21 on the night. Nikki Reed, when it's going all right for you, it goes all the way. She got 31 points on that three-point play. And Nikki still playing good defense.
Nikki Reed.
Underneath the basket, up and good by Ashley Young. Ashley Young has 5 points. Little more than a half a minute to go now, 37 points. Nikki Reed dribbling the ball down the court and pushes herself into the player, felt the pressure, and goes towards the defender because she knows she has the right of way, she being Nikki Reed.
She most certainly did, but she has been double and triple teamed, Tim, and seems to be handling the pressure well and is constantly looking around and behind her for somebody coming up on the blind side. And that's something that's hard to teach. She has got a tremendous basketball mind.
Be curious, of course, she's, as you said, just a junior. The only players from either of these teams that will not return are, as I said, Durso and Keeler. So you basically have all of these girls returning, the players who have played consistently. There are some of the players who haven't participated who might be graduating, but of the players who actually play the majority of the time, only one for each team will be gone.
Well, this is a young team on both of them. Both teams have young teams, Tim. I just want to let the fans know that some of the girls off of these two teams will be playing when the American girls team, play the Canadian team here. I think it's May 7th or 8th.
Menchville, by the way, will host that game next week against Kempsville of the Beach District on March the 1st. Phoebus, however, as you mentioned before, will travel to Cox High School to play on the 2nd of March, which is next Wednesday. And they'll play against Cox.
It's getting a little ragged out there now, Tim, but there's only 20 seconds to go.
But you wouldn't know it by the defensive efforts by the Phantom.
Well, I was a little concerned about that call, not upset, but the Phoebus Phantom player had set themselves on a lane. The Menchville player stepped in their position, moved over, and then they called a violation on Phoebus. I don't understand that. Evidently, the officials didn't see it.
We may never get this last 19 seconds played. They're working their way down the court.
Well, Phoebus is not going to let anybody get it free. They're going to make them work hard. And look who comes up with the steal.
With a definite assist to Carleen Hargrove, who knocked the ball away. Nikki pulls up, stops. 10 seconds to go. Phantoms are going to win and are going to advance as they were already going to regardless of this win. Nikki Reed, what the heck, right? Throw up a prayer. 1 second to go. Thomas returns the favor.
Well, Tim, I do have a scoop, and I'm not going to leave this scoop out. Let me scoop them before they do. The most valuable player in this tournament is Nikki Reed. It's got to be.
As her agent, I appreciate it. No,
I knew you would like that.
I'm not her agent. I'm teasing. A lot of these students got to be careful about agents. But Nikki Reed has a very bright future, not only in high school basketball, but I can see a lot of colleges looking after this young lady. At any rate, we're going to stick around because momentarily we're going to have the presentation of the Peninsula District Trophy. The Phoebus Phantoms come back to tie the season series between these two teams, and now they'll move on to regional play. And Phoebus will play Cox. And as I said before, Menchville will play Kempsville, and they will host that game next Tuesday night. Now, the Phoebus girls will advance to Cox next Wednesday night at 6. And the winner of the boys game between Hampton and Warwick will also play at Cox High School next Wednesday. So if you're planning to go over there for the girls game, you might want to keep in mind you can see either the Hampton team or the Warwick team, the winner to be obviously determined momentarily.
And we can see the trophy sitting right out there in the middle of the floor being guarded by Larry Waddell, who is the assistant director of the tournament, and there Bowl and Shoop comes into view. And these two people have done a tremendous job, along with Ray Ellison, who has also helped him. And Ray is walking towards the table now with the basketball in his hand. If we catch him in picture, there he is. and they have done an excellent job of running this tournament and hosting this tournament. So we're looking forward to the awards here, Tim. They will announce the all-tournament team and the most valuable player. My pick, of course, you know I'm going for, but I believe she is. I don't think that the coaches that are here cannot vote for anybody else as the most valuable player other than Nikki Reed. I mean, she leads. I think she led it in every category as far as assists, rebounds, steals, the whole thing, defense, and of course scoring. And how many points she end up with, Tim?
31 points. And let's go out now to the PA announcer.
First of all, before we do so,
I think we ought to have a big round of applause for both of these teams. I don't know when I've seen two women's teams play as well as they have played here tonight. Please let me stress one thing too. Each of these teams, whether they won or lost here tonight, will be representing the Peninsula District in postseason competition. We cannot urge you strongly enough to go out and support your school. Ladies and gentlemen, a tournament as large as we have here this evening takes a lot of work from a lot of people, and we have three very dedicated people who have assembled this tournament that you have seen here this weekend. I'd like to introduce at this time, if I could, our tournament director, Mr. Bolin Shoup, his assistant, Larry Waddell, and our tournament coordinator, who we have deemed Mr. Everything, Ray Ellenson. Ladies and gentlemen, people who have brought to you the Peninsula District Tournament. At this time, if we could, we'd like to have a representative from the Menchville Lady Monarchs to come out and receive their season's championship trophy.
And this is a regular
By
season
virtue of their first
trophy,
place
Tim.
finish here in the Peninsula District, they earned an automatic berth in the Eastern Regionals.
And of course, they're represented by Ricky Watson and Natalie Thomas. Natalie Thomas finishing the game with 21
Please excuse our
points.
redundance, but at this time we'd like to ask a representative again from the Menchville Monarchs if they would come out and receive the runner-up trophy here for the Peninsula District Tournament.
And it's again the same two ladies are going to come out and get the runner-up trophy for the district tournament.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, if we can have a representative from the Peninsula District Champions, the Lady Phantoms of Phoebus High School, to come out and receive the first place trophy for the Peninsula District Tournament for 1988.
Yolanda Keeler, Tammy Boggs, and Nikki Reed. What a fine group they are. They represent a tremendous team effort here by the Phoebus Phantoms tonight. Nice smiles on those ladies' faces, Tim.
Well deserved. They played a super ball game. They played really well.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me this great pleasure at this time to introduce to you our all-tournament team for 1988. First of all, representing the Menchville Monarchs, Natalie Thomas.
There was no doubt that she should have been as one of the representatives, Tim. They will probably need at least two from each one of these ball teams tonight. Maybe only one, but I look for more than one.
Also representing the Menchville Monarchs,
yep, two of them.
Nona Bako.
And that's the one that we had thought that you had talked about earlier, that she had not played scoring-wise as well as she had for the team, but she did end up pretty well with quite a bit of points there.
15 points.
Quietly.
Yep.
She had one of the only three-pointer tonight too, I believe.
That's correct.
Representing the champions for the Peninsula District for 1988, Juanita Cook.
Oh, Juanita Cook got in there. Oh, she's tickled. That's the young lady that spent half of the game on the bench the other night and still ended up with about 14 points.
And she finished with 10
Also
points.
from the champions for 1988, the Phoebus Phantoms, number 10, Nikki Reed.
Big surprise, huh?
And she'll be back out. You watch it. She'll be back out.
And last but not least, representing the Lady Bruins of Bethel High School, Dawn Parker.
Dawn Potter, of course, her team eliminated in semifinal action, but she is the 5th recipient of the all-tournament team. We didn't have the pleasure of seeing her play in this.
Ladies and gentlemen, one award remains, and that's the MVP for this year's tournament.
I think you're right, Bob.
What this lady lacks in size, she more than makes up for in ability and tenacity. Just listen to the statistics, if you would, for this lady. From the floor, this lady into our championship game went 10 of 15. She shot 67%. From the free throw line, she went 11 of 15, shooting 73%. From the Phoebus Phantoms, number 10, Nikki Reed.
And that's not counting the steals, the rebound, and the defense that that young lady played as far, and is also dishing the ball off.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our championship game here for the women. Again, we want to congratulate the Phoebus Phantoms. Also, again, we cannot urge you strongly enough, go out and support your team. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, the men's championship.
Tim, now we're going to get a chance. I hope AG's got the microphone, and he's going to go ahead and try to get Mike Talon and the MVP, Nikki Reed, and talk with them while he can, just before we wrap this thing up and go to the second ball game.
While he's doing that, let me very quickly run down the scoring unofficially. 15 points for Nona Baycott, who was one of the all-district teams. 4 points for Ricky Watson. Natalie Thomas with 21, 5 points for Ashley Young, and 1 for Karen Barfoot. For Nikki Reed, she had 31 points. As you may have heard the announcer say, 67% from the floor and 73% from the free throw line. Tammy Boggs with 14, 10 for Juanita Cook, and 6 for Monica Hart. Now we're going to go out to AG and the victorious coach, Mike Talon.
Coach Mike Talon. Coach, congratulations. Great Peninsula District tournament. Your thoughts on this big win tonight?
We came out and played with a lot more confidence tonight, and we got good efforts from people that have been doing good things for us all year. But Nikki surfaced tonight, and she surfaced in this tournament. She's starting to play like the caliber athlete she is, and she is one of the best guards in the state without question.
Right. You lost to this team twice. Was that playing on in the team's mind going into this game?
Yes and no. We didn't play very well the last 2 times we played them, and we didn't play with the same intensity we played tonight. We missed easy shots. Menchville's pressure bothered us. We didn't attack it correctly, and tonight we did. Tonight they played like I told them to play, and that was a big thing.
Great job. Hold on a second, Mike. Nikki Reed, congratulations, most valuable player. It has to be a big night for you.
Yes, I'm real happy that we won, and we're ready to play Cox next week.
All right, Cox, does that bother you any?
Not at all. I think we're going to go out there and play real good.
All right, great tournament. Your thoughts on this young lady, Coach?
I brag about her all the time. I mean, I went to Eaton High, and she's 13 years old. As an 8th grader, she started playing with us, and I said that young lady's got a lot of talent, and she worked with us as an 8th grader. So, this is really her 4th year playing with organized group, and you put her with a group of kids that know what they're doing, and she'll make them all look better. She's a tough player.
Nikki, how far can this team go?
I think all the way to state.
All right, great tournament, great coaching, Mike, and we're going to be following you.
They did this one, not me.
Okay. He's modest.
Take some bows, Mike.
All right, good luck to both of y'all. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Nick. Congratulations. Nikki Reed and Mike Talon.
All right, AG, thank you very much. We are very happy to have been on the court here for this game. Nikki Reed had a super game. Final thought before we wrap it up, Bob?
Well, I just want to say that Mike Talon doesn't take as much credit as due to him. He says his team did an excellent job out there, and they get the credit, which they should. But they did as well as they did because they did the fundamentals right, and that's what Mike is. He's a good teacher, and I'm just so happy that he did win the ball game, and we're looking forward to going over to Cox. Hopefully we can.
Okay, and again, our congratulations to both of these teams. Menchville has had a super season, and of course they continue as they will go on to host Kempsville Tuesday night, and these Lady Phantoms will visit Cox High School Wednesday night. If you have the opportunity, go out and support these girls. They deserve your support, and you'll be vastly entertained, I'm sure. For Bob Hintz, A.G. Womble, and our guest analyst tonight, Pat Patrick, thank you for watching, everybody, and good night, everybody.